Hello everyone, my name is Deckerlink, the trained unprofessional, and welcome back to Echo! On the last one, someone pointed out to me that it actually is very fitting that I start playing this game in the month of October, even though the first episode came out in September, but whatever the fuck. Because this is apparently a horror game? I don't know how you do a horror visual novel, but I am open and receptive and interested. This one curl is it's just gonna be there. It's just gonna be there now. Great, it's my fucking eye curl. It's just, never mind, it doesn't matter. Are you sure? It's just the mayo. I forget they put it on everything here. Jenna lifts up the bun to her sandwich, inspecting its contents. None of the mayo actually got on my chicken. Here. No, you don't have to. Jenna picks up TJ's sandwich and swaps out his grilled chicken. She rips off the layer of mayo-tainted lettuce from his lettuce bun before swapping her chicken in. There, how's that? Thanks. It's then that TJ looks up and sees Leo and I staring at him. I see his ears flatten in embarrassment. What? Nothing, TJ. Nothing. So are your parents still letting you live in the house here in Echo? Yeah, we actually tried to sell it last year, but of course no one bought. I think 2 people came to look, but took off once they saw the town. Anyway, my parents are living in Peyton in a house twice as big as the old one. Well, it must be pretty cool living in your own house. My parents aren't constantly breathing down my neck, so that's, nice. Leo's already finished his first sandwich, and now he's unwrapping the second. He sure could eat a lot. How many people are still here, anyway? In the town, I mean. Leo takes another bite, and I hear the crunch of peppers through his muzzle. He chews thoughtfully for a moment before swallowing. Not too sure. Of course, I know almost everyone here, but most don't actually live here anymore. Most everyone's turned their old house into a sort of vacation home now. Really? Why? I can't imagine anyone coming here for a vacation. Unless your hobbies are meth or dying of heat stroke. Well, they've all got their old houses here, and it's cheap to build. And this town is actually trying to turn that old lake into a recreational thing. Lake Emma? Yeah, they're putting in docks and stuff. Huh. Lake Emma is an old reservoir just a few minutes outside of town. As kids, we used to play around there all the time. It was generally an ugly place. Dead fish on the banks, a terrible smell, and mosquitoes everywhere. Then again, if it could have changed since then. I haven't been there in 12 years now. None of us have. Thinking about the lake is making my stomach tighten again, forcing away my appetite in the process. It's been so long at this point, I need to learn to get over things. Actually, that reminds me. The others are pretty deep in their own conversations, but I lower my voice anyway, leaning into Leo. Hey, Leo. Leo turns to me. He had been in the middle of a massive bite, and now he has bell pepper half hanging out of his muzzle. That throws off my train of thought there for a second. Oh yeah. So I wanted to get some shots of the lake for my project. Leo ducks his head to pull out the pepper from his muzzle, only to shove it back in a second later. He chews for a while, but his ears are still tipped towards me, so I go on. It's kind of important to Echo's history. Anyway, you told me that on Monday everyone's free during lunch. I can tell I can tell by the set of Leo's ears that he knows where I'm going, but he's not too into the idea. I wouldn't be too either if the lake is as it fucking sounds. It sounds disgusting. I quickly go on. Of course, we don't have to, but it's been a long time, and if the town is making it look better, it could be fun. Listen, Chase. I feel my face burn a little under the fur. Sorry, it was a dumb idea. No, Chase, if it were up to me, I'd definitely do it. It's just... Leo turns towards Flynn, I do as well, finding him still bantering with Carl. It doesn't matter how fucking fast you eat, I'm not gonna be impressed. He's got that classic Flynn look in his face, where he's pressing his lips together, trying not to smile. What if I ate all 3? You've already eaten most of the first one, so that's not gonna happen now, is it? I look back down at my sandwich. I suddenly feel really guilty. Here I am, back after 3 years, just assuming that I know how everyone feels. Now I'm kind of feeling like an imposter. Leo notices, like he always did, and he nudges me with his shoulder. Hey, don't worry about it. It's not your fault. Suddenly, Leo's ears perk up, and I know he suddenly had an idea. His ears made him easily readable, just as reading people came easily to him. It made it all the more impressive that he was able to tell what most of us were thinking, considering my short, stubby ears. Or Flynn's lack thereof. Listen, there's this cool little spot by the river that's actually pretty close to the lake. We could have lunch, and you could walk over and get your shots. The idea made me feel a little bit better. Alright, that could be fun. Also, this motel doesn't have a pool, so it'd be really nice to swim in something. Otters in their waters. Anyway, I'll have to ask Flynn, but I think he'll be okay with it, so I guess we're an otter? What would really impress me is if you didn't eat the rest. You're a funny guy, Flynn. Carl goes right back to shoving the next burger into his mouth as Flynn looks on in mild disgust. He suddenly notices us watching him and gives us an odd look, but that slowly morphs into a smirk as he focuses on Leo. You're looking pretty happy there, Leo. Not like you've been for the past 3 years. I furrow my brow in confusion as I look up at Leo. I see him shift and he's given Flynn a look that I don't quite understand. Well, of course I'm happy to see us all back together again. I look from Leo to Flynn, and it's pretty easy to imagine a bolt of electricity between them. You should have seen him, Chase. He'd go on days without smiling. Oh, agreed. Leo's been kind of a dick ever since you guys left. Isn't Jenna a counselor? Hey, you should have a session with Leo. I'm still an undergrad, so I'm not going into counseling anyway. And that would just make me sad. DJ is trying to hold his sandwich together and eat it at the same time, not very successfully, and he looks up as well. Leo depressed? It's hard to imagine you not smiling. You seem fine online. Has something been going on, Leo? For the first time since he's arrived, Leo looks truly uncomfortable. You didn't see him like that very often. Flynn, on the other hand, has his trying not to smirk face on. Why? Leo pauses, pinned down by everyone's eyes in the room. He then takes a frustrated breath. Can't people be sad sometimes? Yes, things have been harder. But I'm fine. I think it's pretty clear that Flynn, Leo flicks his long muzzle at the lizard, is just trying to get some reactions. Sure, I'm just saying you're back to your old self, but seriously, it's great. Leo makes a snorting sound. I'm about to ask Leo what's so stressful when he lifts his paw up again, and to try to take a bite out of his almost finished sandwich. I go quiet and look at his paw. A silver anchor, tied around his wrist with leather. The word otter is etched into the shank of the anchor. The name Chase is engraved into the stock. Why was he still... Chase! I jump as TJ's voice breaks through my trance, bouncing on the bed once I came down. Leo looks at me as the bed wobbles, an eyebrow raised. TJ puts a paw to his muzzle. Oh, sorry. You were just kind of staring off into space. Yeah, just thinking about stuff. What's up? We were just talking about Endgame. Didn't you tell me that you saw that movie on the drive here? I really don't get you right now, TJ. Endgame was the worst Lions Brigade movie. You're just mad because they didn't follow the comics. Yeah, Carl, as a movie, it was just better. I'm sure the comics are great too, though. Nah, the comics are shit. Carl tried showing them to me once. Blah? See, that's the problem. They never follow the source material and no one cares because they have no respect for the originals, man. You're way too picky, Carl. Endgame was a great movie. Not you too, Leo. I don't know. I think Lions Brigade was always a bit too violent for me. What with all the shooting and punching. I've always liked the Trinity Weasel. She's the thinking man's superheroine. Carl waves his paw dismissively. The Trinity comics have always been pretty lame. They're jerk-off fodder for lonely nerds, and so's the movie. Ha! Don't you mean like yourself? Hey. Hold up, we're talking about Trinity now? Julia Blasco, she's hella fine. Never seen an ass like hers on a weasel before. That's because it's fake. Oh, shit. No, I just like the story. It's really kind of deep if you think about it. I was hard to think about when half the shots are slow-mo and she's doing all these flips and backbends and shit. Come on, Trinity does have more story going on than your average superhero movie. Looks like Jenna's coming to TJ's defense. Why does all of this fucking matter? I think it's great that you like her character over all the meatheads. Yeah, they all just stuck in all the boob shots and to reel in the dummies like you, Flynn. Of course, that's easy for someone like you to say. Besides, I see what's going on here. Maybe you should watch Lucha Lobo, TJ. He's shirtless the whole time. TJ's ears go flat, tufts pointed at the ground. I better stop with all this saucy talk. The only way this could get any more awkward is if y'all got sprung. We all groan in unison, but TJ shoots right back. And knowing you, that's exactly what you want to happen, isn't Flynn? I get a few surprised chuckles. Damn, TJ, where'd that come from? It isn't that it's a particularly good joke. It's that it came from TJ that makes it so funny. I don't think I've ever heard him talk like that. Even Flynn can't keep from grinning a little bit. Oh, look at this. We talk into the late afternoon. At this point, all my worries have disappeared, instead leaving a happy, warm feeling in its place. It seems silly that I worried so much earlier. In face, I'm starting to look forward to the rest of the week. All right. Leo steps forward, indicating that we should all shut up. Now, we all need to remember that Chase is here to do his school project, so that comes first. But I did make a few other plans for things that we can do in his off time. I'm pretty sure all of us know that we're going to Southwest Adventures tomorrow, so I'll pick these two up. He jerks his head towards Flynn and Carl. Then swing by the motel to get you guys at 9, alright? Sounds good. Then I was thinking about doing some stuff in Peyton towards the end of the week, but we'll make those plans later. In between those times, we should find time to hang out as well. Make the most of this. Leo looks about done, but suddenly snaps his fingers as if remembering something. Oh yeah, Chase, I saw you had a camera. Think you could get a picture of us? It would be nice for all of us to have something that isn't camera phone quality. Oh sure, I was messing with the self-timer earlier. Should be able to get it to work. After a few minutes of me adjusting the tripod and Leo adjusting everyone at the end of one of the beds, we managed to get into position. Alright, here goes! I set the timer and fast walked to the spot Leo saved for me. I think that was a good one! For the next 2 hours we watch a movie on TV, not really paying attention, mostly catching up with each other and how we've been. It's good to be back, and it feels like we're all just picking up where we left off 3 years ago. It's really nice. Finally, about 10, Leo, Carl, and Flynn head out. I spend the next 20 minutes tinkering with the equipment, making sure it's all in order for shooting the next day. Once TJ finishes getting ready for bed in the bathroom, I do as well before getting into bed, head to toe with TJ. There's a soft glow from the corner as Jenna sits at the table reading something. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, waiting for her to go to sleep. Aww. There's a chain attached to my ankle as I walk away from the lake, my legs and feet caked in mud. I guess this is our dream, probably. I look back, seeing the chain snaking back around the rocks and reeds before disappearing into the water. Looking ahead again, I see Leo. He's smiling, waving at me. I walk towards him, and the chain stays slack, pulling easily out of the water. There's an anchor in the lake, I say. I stare at him, but he doesn't say anything and just keeps on smiling. I crouch on the rocks, wrapping the chain around my wrist a few times. Leo kneels next to me, rubbing my back and sticking out his arm to compare our bracelets, saying that everyone gets one. He seems happy, but now I'm stuck here. I can't even stand up to walk. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday! I guess he just feels anchored down to this town? I don't know. Peyton is about 30 minutes away. To get there, you have to get on Route 93, which Flynn tells me isn't even called that anymore. That would make sense considering how it was impossible to find with the GPS. Anyway, to get to the city, you have to merge from the remnants of 93 onto I-40, which runs straight through the city of Peyton. About 15 minutes from Peyton, we all pull over at a rest stop, which sits at a higher elevation than Echo. If you're looking at the right direction, it gives you a great view of the town. I stand outside the old, run-down restroom, a paw over my eyes as I stare out over the desert. A distant, hazy view of a group of small buildings huddled together signals where the town is. From the vicarious distance, it looks small and harmless, hard to imagine all of the things that happened there. Alright, how do I use this thing? I look over and see Leo fumbling with the camera, obviously worried that he was going to break it. I walk over and show him how to use it, checking the white balance and exposure myself. I wasn't too good with cameras, but the equipment manager at the university had given me a quick lesson on how to do things. Oh, it's got like a train sound effect in the background. That's cool. Alright, so I want you to zoom out from Echo, slowly, and while you do that, I'm going to walk into frame, okay? Yeah, okay. Leo hoists the camera up and looks through the viewfinder, ears perked up and smiling. You're not using a tripod for this shot? I've made that mistake before in filmmaking. If you're doing an establishing fucking zoom shot, you can't freehand that shit. You're gonna get points off in your assignment, bucko! Alright, signal me when you're ready. I adjust the clip on mic while Leo focuses the camera, then raises his paw, signaling that I should start. I walk into frame, keeping one paw in my pocket and using the other to gesture. Hope it doesn't look too awkward. I always feel like I do. Echo first began as a settlement in 1852 after James Hendricks discovered gold in a quartz deposit. The town grew quickly in size, and once it began to serve as a junction along Prescott Railway, it reached a peak population of 6,500 in 1877. It was at this point in time that a peculiar phenomenon of mass hysteria took over. Many say the reason this occurred was due to the discovery of a body within the gold mine and the circumstances surrounding that discovery. While not much is known about this event, what is known is that once it ended, a large portion of the population left Echo, most of those who settled in the nearby town of Peyton. However, the town still managed to prosper well enough until 1942. That's when the government stepped in to shut down the mine, as it became a federal law to divert all mining resources to the war effort. The town's population sharply declined shortly thereafter, and in the 1950s it had dwindled to approximately 2,000 people. A shutdown of the Prescott Railway in the 1960s, followed by the bypassing of Route 93 by I-40 in 1986, was the final nail in the coffin for the town. By the 90s, the population had just dwindled to 150 people. My goal, however, is to investigate the first event which led to the town's decline and possible demise. What happened in that mine almost 150 years ago? I've come to Echo to try to find out what information, if any, can be gleaned from the events of 1877. I wait for a few seconds, then look at Leo. That good? Yeah, I don't know how to stop this, though. Here. I walk over to take the heavy camera off of Leo's paws. That was pretty good. You want to be a reporter? Maybe. I'd rather just write than be on camera, though. Yo, Chase! Leo and I look up towards the car, greeted by the sight of a bright white ram's ass hanging out of the back of Leo's van. I don't really react. I mean, despite being self-conscious about his weight, Carl was pretty shameless about stuff like this. I'd probably seen his naked butt more than I'd seen Leo's, and that was saying something. Make sure you get a shot of my hey! For that moment, Flynn, who's sitting next to Carl in the back, reaches around and yanks the ram's pants down so that they hung around his knees. Even though Carl's pretty quick to pull them back up, I still get a pretty good view of his equally white balls hanging from his legs. Leo snorts, and I can see Flynn laughing his ass off while Carl punches him in the shoulder. Unfortunately for TJ, who was sitting in the middle row with Jenna, he was looking back at the time and probably got a much better view than I did. Now he's facing forward, covering his face while Jenna sits next to him reading a book, looking uninterested. 21, and he's still doing that, huh? Yeah, it's a little more awkward without you three around, though. We head back to the car, and I grab the camera bag from the passenger seat and put the camera away. Hey, did you see my ass? Saw more than that. Your thing's about the horrors of Echo, right? It'll be a perfect fit. Well, if you can even fit it onto the camera. I stashed the camera bag in the footwell before hopping in. Southwest Adventures is an amusement park right in the middle of Peyton. It's decent enough that people come not just from Peyton, but cities up to 100 miles away to vacation here. Because of this, it's usually crowded, and today is no exception. Families and their kids are everywhere. It's a generally nice day. Sunny and in the 80s, and it was being on a Sunday that added to the crowd. I didn't mind, though. The point of this is to hang out with my friends. I don't know about you guys, but I'm starving. Let's get to some funnel cakes. Jesus, Carl, we just got here. Hey, I didn't have any breakfast. You had breakfast all right, a blunt with a side of the munchies. It's no problem. You can do that while I plan out what we're doing. Carl ambles off on his way to the funnel cake stand. I snag one of the park maps from the entrance and I hand that to Leo. Alright, so usually when my family comes here, we go clockwise and hit all the rides. That sounds like a plan. It's pretty crowded today, so we probably won't be able to do everything, but in this order we'll at least be able to ride Event Horizon. You sure? The line is always so long for that ride. TJ's looking up towards a tall, spiraling electric red steel roller coaster. It's definitely the most recognizable landmark in the park. You could see it from almost anywhere in Peyton. Yep, fastest, tallest roller coaster in the West. I think it'll be worth it. Oh. TJ rubs his arm with one paw, the corner of his muzzle twitching a little bit. I'd forgotten about that. He used to have a pretty pronounced motor tic when the corner of his mouth would twitch up and over again. It used to be a constant thing, but it stopped once we entered middle school. Guess it hadn't completely gone away. You alright, TJ? We can skip the big rides if you... Oh, hell, TJ, if you're a fucking adult now. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. I just haven't been on a roller coaster in a while. TJ snaps his head back towards us. He's all tensed up and the movement looks like a rubber band being snapped. I'm riding all the rides with you guys. TJ walks off, his paws shoved deep in his pockets. I feel bad for him, and I want to give him an out somehow. Fuck! I didn't read all of it. Go back. No, please. But that's when Carl comes back with his funnel cake. It's topped with ice cream, powdered sugar, and strawberries. Anyone want to share? Yeah, that looks really good. No? Alright, guess I have to eat this whole thing. Great, now we're gonna wait for Fat Ass to finish eating. Carl pulls his face out of the cake. Even with his white fur, I can still see the powdered sugar clinging to his chin. No, I can eat it in a line. We're going on Event Horizon first. The wait'll be an hour long at least. The line ends up being 2 hours long, and by the time we get to the actual ride, I'm dying to get into a pool of any kind. To put it bluntly, an otter needs water. Part of the problem of living in Echo meant that we didn't have any kind of indoor pool system in our house, being as cheap as it was. We ended up having to get an outdoor swimming pool, which was a pain. Nervous, Chase? I smirk at him. I've ridden it before, Leo. Though your tail's kind of down. You sure you're not nervous? Eh? Come on, Leo. Let's ride in the front. Oh, well, I don't know. I watch as Jenna pulls Leo towards the line for the front, which is twice as long as all the others. I opt for the middle, and it was just so happens that TJ comes with me. His tufted ears had been poking straight up the entire time, muzzle giving an occasional twitch. I lean over to him. You know, there's an exit over there for people who changed their mind. I'll bet you can slip out without anyone knowing. Looks like not all of us are going to be riding the same train. TJ stares straight ahead, clutching onto the railing. I could see his sharp claws unsheathed, pressing into the metal and chipping away some of the red paint. No, I'm fine. You sure? Yep, perfectly fine. Well, we're in the middle, which is the best place to be if you don't like roller coasters. Yeah. I really wanted to be able to get TJ to skip the ride, but it seems like he's pretty determined to do it for some reason. Finally, our train comes along and I step in as two laughing and painting hyenas step out. Oh my god, that was the most intense, holy shit, do I know, I never get scared on rides, I almost fucking pissed myself. I do a quick check of the seat to make sure there isn't any actual piss before I sit down. I look up and see TJ standing on the edge of the platform, his eyes wide, one foot stuck out to get on. TJ? A bored-looking teenage fox comes by to check my lap bar, and I stick out my paw. Hey, wait, TJ, you getting on? The fox goes from being bored to mildly annoyed. If you're getting on, you need to get on now. We can't hold up the entire ride for you, sir. The exit's that way for your other adventures await. People around us are starting to notice. Unfortunately, Flynn, who was lined up with Carl towards the back, is paying very close attention, grinning like he knew what was going to happen. Aw, TJ too scared? Guess you're a pussy after all. Shut up, Flynn. Hey, TJ, when it gets real bad, say to yourself, at least I'm not gonna die. Actually, a few people have. TJ! I yell up at him seems to jar TJ out of his trance. He almost falls into the car as he stumbles into it, fumbling with his shoulder restraints before the fox attendant sighs and leans down to do it for him. I can see the red on the insides of TJ's ears as he blushes, and I can feel my own ears burn a little from the second-hand embarrassment. Now that it's too late, I realize that we shouldn't have started with this ride. We should have started with something smaller to build up his confidence. I'm jolted back as the train moves forward. Oh gosh. TJ's paw lashes out and latches onto my arm. Oh no, why am I doing this? I reach over to try to move his paw from my arm and back onto the handle on his shoulder restraints. TJ, hold on to that, my arm, you're gonna chase quiet. I pause, staring at the links. I'm really not used to hearing TJ yell. He's almost puffed out to twice his size. I just need some quiet right now. Our train begins its ascent up the first hill, and I can feel TJ's claw pricking into my fur and into the skin. Oh, God. He starts mumbling quietly to himself, his eyes closed. TJ, are you praying? He didn't actually say anything, and soon we've reached the apex of the climb. I give up on trying to move his paw and sit back, a little nervous myself. I really hope TJ doesn't completely lose it. I rinsed the blood off my arm in a dirty theme park bathroom. It wasn't as bad as I thought it could have been, though TJ did start crying when we hit the first inversion. He had scratched the shit out of my forearm, grabbing it with both paws once we started the descent. Unfortunately, Flynn and Carl were still on the platform when we rolled back into the boarding station. Flynn looked really ready to lay into TJ again, but when he saw the tears, he had the decency to hold back. I helped the shaking Lynx out of the car, and somehow we managed to stumble into the bathroom where he quickly hid into the stall. I should have forced him out the exit. He's always had anxiety problems, though I think we all believed it was a childhood thing that he'd gotten over. I don't know if he still takes his medication. Hey, TJ? We'll talk to TJ in the next episode, guys, but until then, ladies and gentlemen, we know our objective for this story. Seems to be a quick diversion, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this all works out. I suppose we'll see what horrors lay within. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I have been the trained unprofessional, speaking with the voices in my head when I say, until next time, fare thee well. Bye, everyone!